One of the greatest mysteries in science is, was there anything before the Big Bang? And the short answer is, we don't know. But there are some interesting theories we'll take a look at in this video. First, we need to take a look at the Big Bang itself. It took place around 13.8 billion years ago, and it began at an unimaginably small scale, around the Planck length, the tiniest meaningful unit of space. To give some perspective, it's about 10 to the power of 25 times smaller than an atom, a size beyond what the human brain can truly grasp, and it underwent a very rapid inflation, becoming many times larger very rapidly. It's important to realize that it was not an explosion, it was just space expanding into space. At the beginning, the universe was very hot, but as it extended, the temperature went down and the first atoms can form. The very first atom that formed was the hydrogen atom. The next period after this is called by some the Dark Age. The reason why is because there were no stars yet formed and the stable hydrogen gas did not allow any visible light to move through. After millions of years, the hydrogen gas clumped together to form the first stars that illuminated the youthful cosmos. Their radiation dissolved the stable hydrogen gas into plasma that permitted visible light to pass through, turning the universe into the beautiful light spectacle we know today. Now that we've looked at the Big Bang itself, let's move on to the real mystery. What came before? Probably the most popular idea is the Big Bounce theory. This suggests that there are periods of expansion and contraction in the universe. We now just live in the latest one of expansion. The theory was around since 1922, but it was limited by an inability to explain how the universe transitions between the two states. Recently, some scientists suggested the theory might be true. They say that in the early universe, as everything was very small, the reality itself might have been governed by quantum physics instead of the large-scale physics we know today. It means that the effects of quantum mechanics might have prevented the cosmos from destroying itself at the end of a contraction period, known as the Big Crunch. Instead, the universe will just transition in a period of expansion and the process will repeat infinitely, turning the Big Bang into a big bounce, where the theory takes its name from. But we can still ask the question, what came before the very first bounce? And the theory does not give an answer to that. The next theory is the string theory, that imagines the point-like particles as strings that vibrate, and the vibration of those strings allows stuff like gravity. And this theory can create a framework as what might have happened before the Big Bang, proposing that the universe might have existed in a different form, potentially with an extra spatial dimension before the expansion that we observe after the Big Bang. So it suggests that the Big Bang was not the absolute beginning, but rather a transition from a pre-existing state that we haven't discovered yet. Interaction in that pre-existing state might have led to a breaking of symmetry, causing the three spatial dimensions to expand into the universe we know today. Another theory will be the multiverse theory, that says that our universe is just one of potentially infinite number of universes existing in a larger multiverse, each with its own laws and rules different from ours, and the creation of another universe is linked to a process of eternal inflation where pockets of space continue to create entire new universes. The fascinating thing about this theory, if true, there are an infinite number of possibilities and an infinite number of universes. That means an infinite number of Earths and an infinite number of possibilities what might have happened in your life. But maybe the simplest explanation might be the correct one. Maybe there was nothing before the Big Bang. Try to imagine this. What is north of the North Pole? Or like this, what was happening in your life before you were born? The reason why people can't imagine nothing is because we evolved and adapted to logics that make sense to us. But the universe did not evolve to make sense to us. But if true and the beginning of time itself was at the Big Bang, then you should be grateful that you are alive right now, because it truly was a lucky accident.